So I think it's important that we're just honest on this point that we don't have equality in tech today. If you look at the numbers, about 15% of our undergraduates in tech courses are women, and that's not equality. We've got to ask ourselves, how did we get there? And when you look at entrepreneurship, which is the other half of creating a successful startup, the numbers are about the same. 1 in 5 of our founders are women, and they receive less funding significantly than their male equivalents, etc. So we don't have equality, and we've got to start from that reality. The next thing we have to say is, why don't we have equality? And we need to move beyond the proximate direct causes that lead to that position, which is where we often stop. We say things like, that women don't feel comfortable in a heavily male-orientated tech incubator, so we should create an incubator for women, or we say women don't receive as much capital as men, therefore we should create a women-only fund. These may or may not be mitigations that are worth trying, but we then got to ask, why are those things true? And I think when we do that, we arrive at the position that to a degree our society is sexist and creates very strong gender stereotypes from the earliest age. And then those stereotypes follow us through life. So you end up in a situation, for example, where the greater burden of primary care lands on women, the greater burden of being the home manager, the CEO of the home, lands on women. And that's a considerable constraint that in many cases, not in every case, but in many cases men don't have. We ask as women to enter a situation where most investors, almost all investors at senior level are male. So there's just an expectation that they're going to see people talking about things they know about when they come to pitch. I often joke, if you want to clear a room full of investors, mention that you've got a menopause app, for example. So I think we've got to look at structurally top to bottom from the manifestations of the industry, which is very imbalanced, through to the root causes, which is the gender stereotyping at an early age, through to all the consequential beliefs that creates, and ask ourselves from a policy perspective, from a societal perspective, what can we do to start the right conversation on the stereotypes, like an impactful, sustained, honest and open conversation that challenges, those of us who live under the blanket of male privilege, and also effectively mitigates all those cascading consequences. And that's a big topic, and there's a report coming out which I've co-authored with Anna Stewart, the Stewart Review will be called, in a couple of weeks' time, so this has been February, that attempts to start that conversation in a way that's more impactful and more effective at addressing the structural imbalances than we've seen in the past.